welcome to the Asylum. I'm your host, Don. With me today is no Jeremiah. Jeremiah bit the bullet for me last month and watched 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, and 13, 13, 13 all by his lonesome, and then did a review on them. If you haven't seen that review yet, you should check it out. However, spoiler alert, those movies were so bad that Jeremiah has been physically ill for the last couple of weeks and has not been able to get together for our next movie review. Therefore, I'm doing it as a solo adventure in the Let's Talk Spoop style of playing the trailer in the background. Vice having both my and Jeremiah's beautiful faces here for you to stare at. So with that preamble out of the way, I would also like to apologize. I know that the Let's Talk Spoop and the Welcome to Asylum output has slowed down considerably this month. Essentially, last month, watching Evil Bong and Ginger Dead Man burned me out, and then I went on vacation, and I haven't really recovered from the kind of lack of desire to watch horror films, crappy horror films. So I have not gotten myself back into them, but I will, I promise, get back onto our schedule of attempting to put out at least one video a week on something spoopy. So look out for Spoopy Shorts coming your way sometime in the near future, as well as my review on Terrifier 2, which I'm very excited to review, and we'll see what Christmas has in store for us. So back to Haunting in Salem. So what do I have to say about Haunting in Salem? Well, it is a movie. It's got a plot. It's got more of a plot than a lot of other Asylum films that we have had the pleasure of watching. It's got a plot. It makes a lot of sense. The idea being that there's this house that has been passed from sheriff to sheriff to sheriff in Salem, which I don't think is true, Massachusetts, and that this house, there were people accused of witchcraft during the Salem witch trials who were put to death, and this was the sheriff's house then, and for some reason they buried them on the sheriff's property, which is odd, but whatever. And so their ghosts haunt the house and kill the sheriffs, or the sheriff's family via possession. And it's been happening for a while, and then I think what they said 60 years before the movie takes place was when the last sheriff lived there. He killed his family and himself, and then they didn't put another sheriff in it until this sheriff shows up, who is played by a guy named Oberst, and he doesn't look like a human being. I know it's pretty messed up, right, to talk about physical characteristics of people. Like me personally, I weigh 260 pounds. I'm not the most attractive dude in the world unless you ask my wife. I get that, but the guy who plays the sheriff seriously looks like they took one of the wax mannequins from... God, I hope you guys can't hear those fireworks. My neighbors suck and they keep setting off fireworks. He looks like they took one of those wax mannequins from the remake of House of Wax with Paris Hilton and Jared Padalecki? I feel like it was Jared Padalecki. Anyway, with Paris Hilton, and then like it was half melted, but they're like, you know what? It still moves. We'll use that. And so does the acting. The acting is stilted, and it's the Asylum. I mean, there's not a lot of emotion in anything that they say or do. So sheriff's daughter gets possessed, and she starts murdering everybody, and they try to stop her, and it doesn't go great. It's about it. This is a pretty run-of-the-mill Asylum flick. And actually, this movie was made in 2011. I thought it was a mockbuster for Haunting in Connecticut, but apparently not, because Haunting in Connecticut came out in 2009, so that's a pretty big gap for the Asylum mockbuster model. I'm sure it's an ad or a tie-in to something. I'm sure if Jeremiah knows what it is, he'll put a little note down there because he loves putting in those notes. And I personally love them too, because then he gets to put his thoughts in it. It's nice, and I usually find them funny. Anyway, this movie really feels like early Asylum, like pre-mockbuster Asylum flicks, like Halloween Night, the pirate one that we watched that for some reason I can't remember the name of right now. That one. Yeah. So like it doesn't. It feels like they just put a movie together and kind of pushed it out there and hoped for the best. And obviously, the best did not manifest. On our sliding scale of Asylum flicks, this is a little bit below the middle ground. I wouldn't go out of my way to see this movie. There's nothing inherently bad about it. There's just nothing inherently good about it. I think I got one jump scare out of it, which was nice. There's just nothing. It's just kind of, yeah. So yeah, that's Haunting in Salem. As we usually like to talk about or like show the images on IMDb, so to give you an idea of what this movie was, here's some images. There are 4 of them. The cover. Apparently, this is based on true events because it takes place in Salem, would be my guess. I didn't actually look into that. Probably should have. I should have looked into that. Apparently, they made a 3D version, which that ghost does not show up anywhere because that's kind of spooky. Not in there at all. I think that's the daughter when she falls into the tub for some reason. Just, tubbing it up. Good times. And that's a face right there. It's all like covered in blood and stuff. And that is it. That's all the pictures. Yeah. Thanks. So I don't have the wheel of Asylum that we usually use because that's on Jeremiah's computer, not on mine. So I'm just gonna pick a movie for us to watch, and I'm caught between Bermuda Tentacles and the Amityville Haunting. Both of them are ones that I really want to see. So stay tuned for next week when we will surprise you with one of those 2 films, either Bermuda Tentacles or Amityville Haunting. Okay, thanks, bye.